The atheist. The atheist. God ceases to be God only for those who can admit the possibility of his non-existence. And that conception is in itself the most severe punishment they can suffer. Yakomo Casanova. Psalm 14 verse 1. Only fools say in their heart, there is no God. They are corrupt and their actions are evil. Not one of them does good. An atheist was seated next to a little girl on an airplane, and he turned to her and said, do you want to talk? Flights go quickly if you strike up a conversation with your fellow passenger. The little girl who had just started to read a book replied to the total stranger, what would you want to talk about? Oh, I don't know, said the atheist. How about why there is no God, or no heaven or hell, or no life after death? As he smiled smugly. Okay, she said, those could be interesting topics, but let me ask you a question first. A horse, a cow, and a deer all eat the same stuff, grass. Yet, a deer excretes little pellets, while a cow turns out a flat patty, but a horse produces clouds. Why do you suppose that is? The atheist, visibly surprised by the little girl's intelligence, thinks about it and says, I have no idea. To which the little girl replies, do you really feel qualified to discuss God, heaven and hell, or life after death, when you don't know this basic physical stuff? An astronaut made this profound statement. I always look at the planet and see every movement. I realize all of them are moving, but one thing really amazes me. The earth never changes its course. Not even a bit, even 1 degree. You know why? If the earth gets 1 degree closer to the sun, it will burn, and 1 degree apart, it will freeze. So I realize that there is someone holding it. So I realize that there is someone holding it, and that someone is called God. You never saw your great-great-grandfather, but you never saw your great-great-grandfather, but you believe he existed because of what you know about procreation. You cannot tell at what second you slept off with all your wild vigilance and observation, yet you don't believe there is one that regulates life. Let no one talk you out of believing in your Creator. Be absolutely resolute in Him, and do not allow the pleasures nor pressures of this life to sway you. I pray you will have a strange encounter with Him this month that will be so telling and compelling enough to keep you unmovable in Him. You see, when there is an encounter with God, when you yourself you have experienced Him, nobody can talk you out. It ceases from the level of theory to a level of encounter. I pray for you, may you encounter Him in Jesus' name. Amen. The dog and his master's dinner. The dog and his master's dinner. Michael Johnson said, to be of good quality, you have to excuse yourself from the presence of shallow and callow-minded individuals. Psalm 1 verse 1. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sit in the seat of the scoffers or of the scornful. So it is graduation. See, blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked. So it means that he starts a walk. He was going. Then the wicked came close to him in the journey. Said that blessed is he who does not walk. So in your pursuit, in your journey in life, do not allow the wicked to join that journey. Then he says that nor stands in the way of sinners. So it means that if you allow the wicked to join that journey, instead of moving, you will not stand because of money. And then what will happen? Then nor sits in the seat of the scornful. At a point, once you were going and the wicked came, and you entertain the wicked, he will cause you to stand. You will cut short the journey. And at a point, you will be so engrossed into the conversation that you will not sit in the seat of the scornful. So that blessed is he who does not do this. So cursed is the one who does the reverse. So a dog had learned to carry his master's dinner to him every day. He was very faithful to his duty, though the smell of the good things in the basket tempted him. The dogs in the neighborhood noticed him carrying the basket and soon discovered what was in it. They made several attempts to steal it from him, but he always guarded it faithfully. Then one day, all the dogs in the neighborhood got together and met him on his way with the basket. The dog tried to run away from them, but alas, he stopped to argue. He stopped to argue. That was his mistake. They soon made him feel so ridiculous that he dropped the basket and seized a large piece of roast meat intended for his master's dinner. Very well, he said. You divide the rest. So do not stop to argue with temptation. Flee. Do not stop to argue with temptation. Flee. Never underestimate the influence of the people you allow into your life. Never. Evil influence is like a nicotine patch. You cannot help but absorb what sticks to you. Associate with men of good quality if you estimate your own reputation, for it is better to be alone than to be in a bad company. Remember, keeping bad company is like being in a germ-infested area. You never know what you will catch. You never know. Don't stop to argue with temptation. It will overcome you. Bible said that nobody holds fire onto his bosom and expect that it will not burn him. There are people you call friends, and the kind of conversations you have, it is just a matter of time. You start doing the same thing. At this at your age, you have not slept with any man. Are you normal? No, yeah. They will make you believe that indeed it is ridiculous. And by the time you are aware, you have done. Everybody is doing sugar daddy. Why not? You too, you need to do your hair. You need to also travel to Dubai. You need to do this. You need to do that. They will give you every reason. And you see, initially you may be telling them, oh, snobby, oh, snobby, oh, snobby. Some can even tell you actually the men are not coming. Why don't you look for a certain sugar daddy? Let me impregnate you, get a child. You will be fathering the child because age is not on your side. You see, they will give you every reason. Initially, you may be throwing them away, but as you entertain the thought, you start setting and be dreaming about the thought. It will be sinking in by the time you are aware. Things you so eschewed, you are now doing it without any guilt whatsoever. May you overcome every evil association and counsel in Jesus' name.